team. I don't know if they're online or here, but so no open houses. And did we do showing? Did anybody work? We're working, so we're doing showings. Okay, that's good. That's good. Showings for rentals, buying rentals. Yeah, rentals are up. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. But yeah, we can see an uptick in rentals. We felt it last week energy wise, and now we can see it in the numbers too. Yeah, so that makes sense. But yeah. Kayla, did you hear any details from the streets or?
Not really confidence issues.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's okay. Claire, did you hear anything or? No, nothing.
An offer date
Come and go, no offers or low? Really low. Yeah, that's kind of normal though too, right? We're seeing that too, so.
$4.99. Oh man, even that place. And also, Wilson Rockland.
So will you relist or are you gonna hang out? Yeah.
So it's the strategy.
It's still part of the strategy. There's still no right or wrong answer for that, but we'll look at the stats a little bit. Do you want to just get right into the stats then?
That's okay. So some people were saying here, we're talking too much about realm, so I'm not gonna talk about realm anymore.
No questions.
In fact, we're actually on vacation starting today at 2 o'clock. So you'll have to call the front desk and figure out your realm.
Call realm.
I actually did hear of a broker owner manager who literally planned a vacation starting today for the next 2 weeks. I actually like he was really cutthroat. Yeah. So like, yeah.
He actually will not pick his phone.
He actually will not be picking up his phone. So that's kind of unfortunate, but yeah.
So I think everybody's okay with realm. I mean, I thought in the last week we would have got more people coming to us saying, what's this or how to do that or what's this going on? But I'm not sure whether people are either embarrassed or everybody knows it already.
I get the sense that people know the bare minimum, like you can do a search and kind of figure things out. But when it comes to like you're setting up your searches, like using it strategy wise, maintaining your contacts, that's going to be like the advanced level of realm and really utilizing it to your, because it's pretty powerful, right? Stratus was as well. So yeah.
Okay, so let's just I'm just gonna talk about realm for 3 seconds.
You can't resist it. Well, just get it out.
I'm gonna get out of my system here because you only got one more day to fix things. Because after tonight, it's gone. So who here uses your shopping cart in Stratus? Shopping cart. Okay, you have to move it to realm. Have you done this?
And you can.
One guy said yes, one guy says I don't have to. Right? Okay, that's fine. So as long as you know how to do it, you can do it. A lot of people don't use cart. I don't use cart myself. I've never used it that often, right? So
people use a cart when you're doing your CMA. You would add it to like your cart first, and then do your CMA from that, so you're not searching for it. So that's another way to use a cart. But
second thing, have you moved your contacts, not your prospects, or your contacts from Stratus over to realm?
I've seen half of that. I
moved somebody last week there, and there were 600 names in their contacts. And as soon as we hit the button, it was like less than 10 seconds, and it was done. So everybody's all freaking about it when it was done. There's no problem, right? But all it does is just moves your contacts into your contact list. That's all it's doing, right? Do you guys have any favorite listings or listing cards? We talked about that. Okay. Transfer your save searches. Your save searches is do you guys who used their save searches and there's prospect searches? Two different things. Save searches. Who uses those here? Have you moved the save searches over to realm? Now, if those people have not used save searches, I'll tell you how other people use it. You have a farm area, and in the farm area you have a townhouse. So rather than having to input that townhouse information every single time, you go to your save searches, click one button, and there it is. Bang. Save searches in Stratus, you can only save 150 at a time. So I'm not sure about realm. Hopefully realm's gonna be more, but let's say you had clients that you wanted to keep up to date. So you save that search as a save search and you have it saved under the client's name. And once every month or once every 6 months, you bring up that save search, you hit the button, and you got all the searches for that client. You email them to your client, and you're finished. You're not inputting addresses, you're not putting in time, you're not doing anything. So there's another reason to do that, right?
I did find an error, not an error, maybe an inconvenience with that. Maybe we can table it offline after, but in that save searches, there's no way to search for the search. It's all, you can sort it by alpha order, you can sort it by location, but all it shows you is page 1 through, let's say 10, and there's no way to search for the search. So if you have 150 searches, which I saw someone did, there's no good way to find it unless you sort in alpha order and you go look for it. So maybe we can there's no search for the search. You can search for your client's prospect searches. So maybe we offline that and see if we can find a solution for that. But
Anyways, that's fine. So, so everybody's okay with the prospect searches. You have to transfer those over. Now, when you transfer a prospect search, just so you know, I want to make sure you didn't miss a step. When you transfer a prospect search over to Realm, the search itself will transfer over, but you got to open it up and make sure it's doing what you wanted to do, because the search that you brought over from Trev, for instance, might have asked for 2 bedrooms. And you know, on 2 bedrooms on Stratus, you got 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms. On Realm, you only get 2 bedrooms. So even though you've transferred the prospect search from Stratus over to Realm, you got to look at it and make sure a little trick like that doesn't show up.
yeah, I would do a full audit.
Next thing you have to do when you transfer that Stratus over, sort of this prospect searches, or even the save searches over to the Realm, you still have to assign it to a client. It never assigned to the client. So you still have that extra step. So the search got transferred, but it wasn't assigned to anybody. So then you got to assign it to your client. Everybody's okay with that? Looking at people, I don't know.
They'll find out.
You'll find out. Learn today. So your save searches, your prospect searches, your contacts are being moved over, and then finally CMAs. I don't think anybody here says CMAs. I want to talk about it. There's a CMA on Realm, but we've never used CMA on Stratus. We never use CMA on Realm. What we're suggesting you do is you find the comparable property that you've always found, write down the MLS numbers, input the MLS numbers into the CMA program, and you're finished. Or what you prefer you to do, there's 73,000 people are using CMA option on the Realm. If you were to use MoxieWorks, there's only 10 of you. So your presentation will be completely different and actually superior to what Realm was doing.
I actually think it's easier to use as well.
Our senior agents used it last week, and it was way easier for her to use Buck 21.
Yeah.
Buck 21, it's far better, because what you do compare was write down your numbers. It's a better presentation. But
Yeah.
it's up to you guys.
It looks higher tech. It's interactive. Your clients can click through it on Hub 21, right?
2 more things on Realm, then I'm finished.
Okay.
A lot of people like the table view.
Yes.
And for those that forgot, there's the broker sheet, there's customer sheet, there's Realm, whatever else, right? So the other ones are just, if you still like the way that the Stratus looks, you can use the broker sheet or customer sheet to make it look like the Stratus. Right? So if you like that, that's fine. Now, if you go to table view, like table view meaning the line by line by line, Realm does not have the same headings as Stratus. So if you like
The default's not the same.
the Realm generic does not have the same columns as what you're used to. So what we're doing here is you're going into customize the columns to add in the items that you want to look at. You have to change the column to make sure it fits into one page. And if you print out, does anybody print it out? It comes out in landscape. Oh, sorry,
Portrait.
Portrait comes out in portrait. Is anybody even using that? Has anybody printed out the table yet? This is why nobody's asking any questions, because nobody's gone to it yet. Anyway, so if you were to change the customized look, and rather than having the Realm generic maybe has 10 columns and the Stratus has 15 columns. So you got to add in, for instance, the MLS number, you got to add in the listing broker, you got to add in the maintenance fees, whatever you want to add, and then you save that customized search. Now you go to printout. What does it do? It still prints out in portrait, but you want it in landscape. So believe it or not, this is what you have to do.
Which I have not proven this. You can talk about it, but it's not proven yet. Because Elio and I did this last week. So
I've done it twice. It worked for me this
It did work?
morning, and it worked for me today.
Okay, good.
And there might be a better solution. Hopefully there's a better solution. This solution is tough.
Mhm.
So if you want to, so the way the computer works, if you go to print it out in the table view, there's no print preview that allows you to select portrait or landscape. You notice that? Go to property. There's no button to push. So it has to be done within the program. And Realm tells us that the program will automatically switch it to landscape when it's needed. You don't have to select it. But the only way it's going to do it automatically is if your Chrome doesn't have in its cash what it did before.
He said the word cash.
So wait, it goes. So I'm telling you how to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to, but you got to go in there to your Chrome. You got to clear your history, your history on Chrome, and then it'll print out landscape automatically.
What's our option at this point?
Yeah, just give us
I have an option. We talked about the option.
Retired.
No, it's referral.
If you decide to become a referral agent, because this is those folks that just don't, that they've had enough, they don't want to give up their license, they had enough. We have what's called a referral program. Give us your client, we'll give you a referral fee, and somebody else will take care of your client.
The technology.
You can still keep your tribe if you want to. You can still keep Rico.
So there are other options there if you want to get involved in that. But anyways, we'll deal with that later.
And we'll test that out later. I'll work with you on that.
All right, so no more realm
That's it.
questions, unless you have one.
Does anyone have
Anybody
one?
been using that insurance that we're members of now? Anybody?
That's not realm. Wait, how do we get from realm to insurance?
Realm to insurance.
No, that's another topic we don't talk about.
And nobody wants to talk about insurance anymore. And to answer the question, yes,
Yes.
everybody in this room has used it except for one.
You're right.
We're all getting massages, we're all in therapy.
It's really easy to use. I'll go with you. Like, yeah. Are you worried about the claim, making the claim, or? I'll show you. What I will say is go get the service, go get the massage, go do the thing, and then come talk to me and I'll show you how to get paid back for it.
Even they're saying he went and got a prescription filled or something, and they said, no, we don't honor that or something.
It depends on the drug. It's not every
I don't
single.
get prescription.
I mean, if it was like cannabis or something, yeah, probably not.
I don't know if it's covered or not.
All right, back to real estate.
All right, so July 28th, today's the 29th, July
29th.
28th, we've got 25,000 active listings, so we reached the 20.
We hit it.
We hit over the, hit
25,000.
over the 24,000, 25,090. But if you check this morning, it went back to 24,000.
It's 998.
Now, bro. I do this report at 7:00 on Sundays, so.
So we're right hovering
So
there.
there's 11,500 condominium active listings and there's 13,500 freehold active listings. Total 25,000. Sales themselves compared to the first 28 days in July last year versus 28 days July this year, condominiums are actually down 13%. And the resale market first 28 days last year versus 28 days this year. Overall minus 8%, freeholds are down overall minus 10% and freeholds are minus 8%. So the market is relative to last year within 10%, right? But if we compare those numbers to June versus July, and this goes back to our summer market, we have summer market, which would be July and August. Sales for condos are actually down 14% from the first 28 days in June, down 22% overall, and freeholds are down 26%. Now, if you read the newspapers are going to tell you condos, 30% down. I think new condos are down 60%. Condos, it's miserable. It's only down 10%. People should be crying about the freeholds. They're down 26%.
Yeah.
All right. So the market's overall. So it's interesting what the papers will report, what they want to read, and what they're selling papers, but you got to look at some facts here.
Yeah.
Leases themselves, or I should go back there. The question to you was properties being sold over asking. So properties that sold that so far for 28 days in July, the properties that sold for 101% or more, so more than asking, of the properties that sold, 20% of condominiums sold for over asking. Going back to what I talked about, they read the papers. Anybody read the papers I'm talking about? They talk about doom and gloom in condos. 20% sold for over asking, which means that it's a pricing problem, I think.
Yeah.
Overall, there were 22%, and overall there were 27%. And on the freehold side, 31% of all listings sold for over asking. I'm not suggesting that the market's changed. I'm just saying these are strategic pricing, right? But it works out to about 30%. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
It's not zero.
That number was 50% about 6 months ago. So it's just something to think about. Active leases. What do you guys hear about leases? Are leases going up or leases going down?
Not so much price, but there's more.
I think the number of leases has gone up. Mm-hmm.
I have
So-
a place for lease clear downtown.
Yep.
On 11 Charlotte, 2,500 we're getting for the last couple of years. We put it on the 2,500. 3 weeks ago. Barely any showings on crickets. We dropped it to 2250, had like 6, 7 offers in 10 days and then 15 showings.
What we got?
2250, we leased it for 23.
Okay, so one in Charlotte, you're asking how much originally?
2,500.
25?
What we were leasing it for in the past.
Yeah, 2,500, and then you went down to 2,300 and then you
That
sold.
makes sense.
So-
Yeah,
so,
prices have
all right,
gone down.
so- right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No part.
Well, people think that's the same thing, that like your price for a lease should just keep going up too, and it's like when you, it's not the case. I think it's hard to.
That property,
hard to
that
change.
condo in Charlotte, have you looked at the resale values?
Yeah, it's probably about 550.
Because Mary was talking about last week about that guy who was complaining on Toronto Star saying how his property hasn't sold and he's doing this and some of the guy price it, he's on Charlotte. He's still sitting at 580 and there's another one, competition is like $80,000 less. He's still sitting there. Anyways, on the lease side, so far for the first 28 days, leases are up actually 19% from July last year on condos. And active overall about plus 12%, on freeholds minus 4% for leases.
That makes sense. It's logical. 'Cause-
Schools coming up. and the stuff.
Well, if they're not selling condos, they're gonna rent them out. So it makes sense that there'd be more rentals on the condo side. And that the prices have softened a little bit. The prices of rental.
Toronto condo market is imploding during housing crisis. This is the headlines that I'm reading right now, right? So they're talking about how it's changed. One thing that I did notice in the last week, and Nelson would be able to confirm, because you guys can confirm, when they dropped the rates by a quarter point last week, I noticed a bit of an uptick. Anybody else?
No.
When they reduced the rate last week, another quarter point, so that means half a point in the last 2 months, I've noticed a bit of an uptick. In showings.
We had our offer date scheduled for the Friday after the, we didn't get a show.
Mhm.
But then at the weekend, and it didn't sell, and everybody that's what now there's. So I think.
And that's normal.
And it's a low price point too,
Yeah.
so I thought we would have had the same effect. But
I was suggesting, Nelson, since they dropped that second drop, we're seeing a little more activity. Did you're saying yes? Yeah. That's
I
what I'm
started to
saying.
get
too.
more like questions. I can tell when my WhatsApp is blowing up a little more, like when I get more questions about offers and deals and that, then I get the sense that something's happening.
Mhm. Toronto condo market is in recessionary territories. Investors can no longer prop it up. They're suggesting here that quite a few people that bought or for rental purposes are in negative cash flow. They're saying that investors are the lifeblood of condos. So it's interesting, right? I'm just going to paraphrase here rather than read it. If you have a normal supply and demand, okay, freeholds. Freeholds, you have a supply and demand where you've got so much listings and so many people want them and so many people can afford it. It's a normal supply and demand situation. The more inventory you have, the less price, so on and so forth. But the users for freeholds have always been or mostly been end users. Right? Condominium market, no. Condominium market, especially pre-construction, I think 70% of all pre-construction condominiums are bought to people that you might call investors, some people call speculators. I'm suggesting speculators. Because I think most people that bought it, you guys tell me, most people that bought pre-construction bought it to move in. They bought it to invest, right?
To flip, yeah.
And they're hoping that the prices will keep on going, so they're investors, but they really weren't they were never investors. Investor is somebody that would rent something out for a break even or positive cash flow. If you're not doing that with condominiums, then you are a speculator.
You're a gambler.
And just like the stock market goes up, stock market goes down. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And the speculation market, that's what's going on. So it really sort of screwed up the market because you got all these investors in the condominium market trying to sell. They're really not end users, they're investors. So you understand what I'm saying? Like they kind of screwed up the whole supply and demand.
Yeah.
I think they
Basis.
saw a pattern that was working for quite some time.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
stay away.
But good opportunity if you are a true investor to now get into that pre-con market through an assignment or with pre-con, right? So an assignment, people are selling at a loss. So you take advantage of that. On the pre-con side, you take advantage of all the incentives and mortgage buy downs and free rental period for 2 years. So a true investor might take advantage of a market like this and actually get back into pre-con or buy assignments, right? There's lots available.
Crazy. You can't break the rent.
No.
You've never really been able to,
That's-
yeah, but cash flow in
Certainly.
Toronto has never been cash flow positive in the city, unless you're putting more than 20% down, right? So-
So I think you're
Yeah.
fine. I mean, if you bought a place, or I was reading here, you bought a place in 2020 or 2021, you're probably okay. But if you bought it in 22 and 23, you're not okay. Because the builders, even today, the builders are trying to get what, $1,500 a square foot for downtown,
More.
right? And in the resale market, I think, I don't know, I'm not sure it's even $1,000 anymore.
Some pockets, I've seen Kennington Market even like 900. Like I've seen really bad pockets. Yeah.
So I was kind of curious how that comes down.
I'll share some good news though. Rand shared this in the group this morning. Will the Bank of Canada deliver another 175 basis points in rate cuts? And TD and CIBC are saying yes. They're saying by the end of 2025, the overnight rate could be 2.75. Not that long. 2025?
Someone's already on.
CNE is not here yet. Summer's not over.
So some things that they can do, the government can do, they're gonna increase in August, I guess, next month. They're gonna increase your HBB plan from $35,000 to $60,000. The home buyer's plan for RSP. So you can use up to $60,000 per person in August, from August on, to use for down payments. So that's a big number. August. And I'm reading that this was announced about 3 or 4 months ago when Freeland did her thing. I assume they still have the majority government or minority government with the NDP, so I assume it's going through for August. They're also if you're a new home buyer, if you're a first-time buyer, first-time buyer buying brand new, you get a 30-year mortgage. So that helps things out a little bit as well.
On brand new home.
Brand new only. Hopefully they'll change that for resale. Why they don't, who knows? And so they're trying to increase the housing. That's why they want to give a break to for new houses, to build new homes. But I don't know. The other thing they did in 1991, they came in with if you're going to use a brand new house and you're going to move in yourself, not rent it, you're going to get an HST tax rebate, right? The builders get the HST tax rebate, which they give to your client, maximum 24,000. That was done in 1990, hasn't changed. It's based on $450,000 price.
That's the threshold that they
The
set in 91.
thresholds so if anything over $450,000, your rebate is zero.
If you purchase 350, you get a tax
So,
rebate.
so they're
but-
saying here like that needs to be changed. Why isn't that changed since 1990?
Because they're benefiting
Yeah.
from it.
Right?
They're benefiting a lot.
But at the same
billions
time,
of dollars.
they're trying to tell the world that we need more housing, yet they're not. They're not helping.
Yeah, no, they committed during that time, every 2 years, they were gonna adjust the threshold, and since then, they've made billions of dollars in it, so. See, no one knows what it is exactly, because no one can use it. It's true, the tax rebate.
So if somebody bought bonds for like 500,
Well, sorry, caps out at 4. So you get $24,000 max.
Yeah, but yeah, the point is that they haven't changed the amount since then, right? So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it should be-
Everybody's over
it should be
450.
double that, right?
It's not 13%.
Yes,
taxes.
yes,
It's 8
exactly.
or 9 or 7 or
It's the federal portion.
7.
I forget what it was, 5 or 6.
Okay.
The point is, no one can use it, and they need to look at it
It's a
again.
formula. Central 21 came out with a survey talking about price per square foot. But they didn't have Toronto, so I'm not sure why. I guess because they did the top 10 and top 10 most expensive, top 10 least expensive. We didn't see Toronto there.
Yeah, they got Markham.
I got Markham here at, Markham is, $822 square foot, but these are for freehold houses, so no, we don't sort of keep track of that, on freehold, you do it for condos.
Doesn't give you the condos on it.
No, they're just talking about, freehold houses right now, but they're just doing the adjuster, they're saying here it's pretty much held its own.
It's good information if you want something for your social media or content or a newsletter. They spent time to do a survey, so it's something interesting if you want to kind of put it out to your people.
All right, we wanted to be a short meeting
That's
today.
okay. I'm gonna read a couple of just interesting things. Again, this is my 411 and I just read them really quickly. I won't read all of them. But the Canadian commercial real estate market has rebounded in Q2, which is interesting. So their transactions are surpassing 12 billion, which beats their 10-year history of about 2 billion. So commercial is coming back a little bit. And this is mostly in things like data centers, hotels, senior and student housing, and farmland are all in high demand. So it's not offices anymore, but there are other commercial sectors that are becoming more popular. Multifamily residential is considered the most promising investment, with average national rents reaching $2,100 a month in June. Retail vacancy, though, fell to a record low of 1.6. So retail offices, these types of commercials are still struggling. Industrial vacancy rates have doubled well at the same time. Moving into a buyer's market, which we know already, I'd say we're pretty much in a buyer's market right now, except for some pockets, right? Mortgage defaults are on the rise, which we know already as well. I'm still getting a couple clients or questions from agents of people that are about to go power of sale but have not yet. That's the time where you want to try to get something sold, is not when they get their notifications, but if they know they're not paying their mortgage, the letter is going to come, and I've seen it come very, very quickly. And we,
It's still about a year.
yeah, so that's the time to sell it, not to wait until you start getting the letters and it's too late. And then the other point we talked about last week is don't go silent. I've heard from agents that their clients are ignoring the lender. They're not even opening their mail. They're too scared to look at the letters. That makes everything a lot worse. You got to communicate with the lenders, let them know you're doing something. It's on the market. You're working towards it. Don't just ghost them. They're not going to like that very much. Cottage market seems to be
Does
recovering.
anybody have any clients like that? Or anybody talking to people that, they're having a hard time with their mortgages because they're talking about, a lot of people have to renew this summer and next year, and they're expecting increases by 30% on the mortgage rate.
Yeah, like if you had bought 2017, 2018, you're renewing your 5-year term right now. And those are the people that are going to struggle. It's not even necessarily the 2021, 2022 hot people. It's you bought in a hot market in 2017 and now you're about to renew. Now you're in trouble. Yeah.
So if you've got clients that bought through you 5 years ago and they took a 5-year mortgage, these are people you want to be in
Yeah.
contact with, right?
Yeah. Are you okay? Do you
Talk
need
to
help
them,
to
what's
renew?
happening there, and it's, what are your plans, and, what are you paying now, and you're all ready for it, you're okay with it, and these are conversations that you need to have.
I don't have any more new stuff. I have only boring broker of record stuff after this.
Okay, so marketing. So Chris said something funny there last week, and he said something funny this week too. Chris, leader there. You talk about prospecting on phones being like is that the word he said? He said dead. Is anybody prospecting? Who's prospecting on the phone right now?
Yeah.
Some people still do, right?
Mhm.
And usually the guys, yeah, so it still works, by the way. Phone calling still works. I mean, if you can overcome.
They ranked it last week, right? It was among the
It
lowest.
was the lowest.
Alright.
Online needs a second.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that because people are not doing it and not getting success, or they're doing it and still not getting success?
Probably that, and it makes up people who don't have landlines.
Yeah.
I tell you, there's an opportunity out there for people who want to, you can't use MLS to identify expired listings, but if you happen to find an expired listing, there's a great opportunity for people in this market if things aren't selling. All right, so it's a good opportunity for people to sort of go in there. I mean, this,
We got a buyer deal. So yeah, for terminated listings. If you want to go the opposite.
if you've got a particular mortgage broker that you've been dealing with over the last bunch of years, you want to make sure that you put that mortgage broker's, make sure he's got your name up first and foremost if any power sales come their way. You want that's sort of their scratch my back, scratch your back. I'm giving you a mortgage business. You can give me your mortgage business or power sale business. You got to think about that. I'm reading this article here. So I guess if you're not phone calling, okay, what else you doing? You guys, what was Chris saying? Like,
But the highest quality of lead was from past clients.
Okay.
Friends and family, and we refer.
but some people get past clients, okay, they got the 150 past clients, they don't want to bug them every month, so there's gotta be something else to do, right?
But it's not to get your past clients to buy a house, get their friends and family. to
Right,
buy.
to get referrals, to get the people to refer them, okay. I saw one here on, I'm trying to think how to get business from strangers, right? That's, I mean, it's okay to get past client referral database, that's okay, you've got all your databases, but how do you get business from strangers?
Marketing.
Marketing, right? Does anybody use LinkedIn as a marketing tool? Let me rephrase that. Everybody's on LinkedIn, we know that, right? But are you using LinkedIn to promote yourself to other people that are on LinkedIn? And the answer is no, and it used to be because LinkedIn was supposed to be a professional website, it's supposed to be your resume, it's supposed to be professional. But it seems to me that people are always trying to hire people through LinkedIn. So other people are using LinkedIn as a tool. I mean,
Yeah, what
it was
tons
just-
of recruiters are on.
So this article here is saying here that use target marketing on LinkedIn. So you actually can go in there, you can actually target market, you can actually find people and locations and age of people, age groups, things like that. You can actually do it. You can optimize your LinkedIn business profile. You can utilize LinkedIn advanced search filters, join and participate in LinkedIn groups, repurpose content, actively engage in your connection. So actively engage is probably more important. That means you're going to talk to other people and congratulations, so on and so forth. So I think that's should be part of your thing to think about anyway.
I would also, at the very least, make sure your LinkedIn profile is up to date. Like, make sure it says you're a realtor, at what brokerage, for how long, just in case you weren't always in real estate. A lot of you had a previous career and have other history on LinkedIn, and you might have connections there already. So at the very least, make sure that your profile is up to date so that if those connections happen to search or come across you, that they know exactly where you are today.
And I thought Chris Leader was good today.
It was good. Kate, do you want to chat about Chris Leader? Not really. Okay.
Objection handling.
This objection handling, yeah, it was
I
good.
will put the notes in the.
Fair enough.
I have picked up.
I forgot to put our minutes AI in here too. We're gonna try to do our minutes for the meeting so that it can do text format of what we're saying in case people are not visual learners. So we'll remember that for next time then.
So I'll just touch on a little quick then. How long are you gonna be there?
No, it's just 2
Good.
seconds.
So if you've ever done a listing presentation, the client says to you, okay, thanks very much, I want to think about it. Does that ever happen? And we all know here that if you walk out of that listing presentation, if you walk out of that meeting, you've got an 80% chance that you're not going to.
Yep.
Right, if they don't sign up right there.
Even
So-
higher.
So you maybe even higher,
Yeah.
right? So it's all there. So what they're saying here is that I want to think about it. So basically there's three things they're thinking about, isn't there? They're thinking about the price, they're thinking about the company, they're thinking about you. This goes way back. He stole this from a trainer, Floyd Wickman. Goes down this list here saying that, okay, so you want to think about something. What does he want to think about? I don't know. Just want to think about it. They don't want to tell you. Okay, well, is the price? Do you think the price is, oh no, the price is fine. What about the company? You think the company's okay? Yeah, the company's okay. What about me? Is it me? What are they gonna say when you do that? Not at all, sir, right? Right? So then somehow you have to isolate what the problem is, right? You want to know what the problem is. Once you do isolate the problem, then you're going to solve that. So these are things that you need to be training. These are training sessions you do on the Wednesday, not on Mondays. But think about those answers. If somebody says you're going to think about it. I was talking to an agent some time ago, and some buyer comes to you, and he said right in there, you need to have more than one objection handler. You need to have more than one question. Buyer comes to you and says, I want to buy through you. You're going to give me half your commission back?
Do you have the job?
Right? Do you get that question?
Yes.
If I say, what are you gonna give me back? 1% back, half back? Like, you must get that, right? So if you're in this business here, you can't assume that you're not gonna get that question. So you must have an answer for that question.
Yeah, assume you're gonna get that
You
question.
are gonna get that
Mhm.
question. Same as the seller. You go to the seller, the seller says, what's your commission? They're gonna ask that question. You're gonna say it's 5%. They're gonna say, well, so-and-so says he's gonna do it for 1%. You gotta have an answer for those questions. This is what he's talking about. Pre-written. You know they're gonna ask that question. What are you gonna say?
Don't put it right.
So, okay, I'll ask a veteran guy. You ready? No. So Eli, I want to buy a house from you, so-and-so over here said he's gonna give me 1% back. How about you?
Luck with it. You know what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
You know, if you were if you were selling, you're my client, you're paying me a commission, that's a different story. But when I'm being paid through, you know, the seller of a property eventually, that's fine, it really has nothing to do with you.
I know, but
You know, you want to
so-and-so,
negotiate your commission with me when you sell or whatever, that's fine.
but so-and-so says he's gonna give you 1% back.
I don't deal with those people.
That's fair, no, and you can too. That's-
Actually, this is a good, you know,
No is like just on its own.
Yes.
there's the thing about human natures, right? People deal with people that they like and people that are like them. So he's not gonna come across people.
I'm not after that marketplace, it's 50% of it out there is that marketplace right now. Where we are.
So the whole purpose of the exercise is that you need to have an answer for it. It's either no, take a hike. Yes, can I, just 1%, I'll give you 1.5.
Whatever it is, have an answer, like it's.
1%, what is,
Sorry, oh no, that offers.
1%, I'm not doing 1%. No way I'm doing 1%. Most of my clients get 1.5, but not 1%, no way.
Here's my license too. Oh.
Okay.
All right, so I've been taking some courses because when we get TREB notices and we get fined, we as a brokerage also get fined, and that means I get fined and I get to go to a course as well. So now I get to share with you all the stuff I learned from these courses. This one is about 100 pages is the last one I took. It's quite some long. So last time we talked about showings. We all know about showing rules. We've talked about podels. We've talked about making changes on MLS. This rule is sort of the all-encompassing rule, which I thought was interesting to remind you of, because you all would have learned this when you did your TREB orientation a long time ago, but maybe not in your RICO mandatory, right? So this is TREB MLS rules. This is the main overarching bylaw, and I'm going to read it exactly how it is. It says all members shall be deemed to have received and to have read the bylaw of TREB MLS rules and policies, the TREB code of conduct, CREA code, RICO code, and have agreed to abide by them.
Yep.
So when you did your TREB orientation, it's only 1 hour. So there's no way that they went over the bylaws, MLS rules, code of conduct, CREA, RICO. But the bylaw is that you would have had to read them and abide by them. And so do we actually read these? I know we don't because I get fined for it. because I go to hearings and we get fined for it. So I'm gonna just every week, I'm gonna remind you guys of the rules. Like I am just gonna pick one every week and kind of remind you guys about them because TREB orientation was so long ago in your career. It was 1 hour. You were doing it because you had to. It's mandatory. You're doing it to get it over with. But that is the main bylaw is that we are supposed to go on their website, download the bylaws, download the rules, read them, and abide by them. In addition, all brokerages are responsible for members registered with that brokerage, meaning we are responsible for you guys abiding by these. When you get in trouble, we get in trouble too. We have about 450 agents now. So there's no way we are driving in our cars, looking to make sure your MLS stickers are covered, checking every single listing. We've got about 100 listings at any given time. We're not going through them to make sure everything is correct, right? But we are responsible to do that. So there are a lot of rules. The fines are getting exorbitant. They're getting worse than they've ever seen. I don't know, Claire, if this is the worst you've seen them. But the panels are getting more harsh, the fines are getting worse and worse, and it's our responsibility to let you know. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, it is. We can bring that back. I'm gonna bring it back.
I pledge.
Let's hear it. What is bylaw 3.03?
Yeah, what's bylaw 3.3, man?
Here's how things are changed, Pete. When you and I, when the three of us took the courses, they're all closed book exams. Number one, there was no cut and paste. You had to write out the clauses by hand. You had to write all those clauses out by hand. There was no computers or anything else.
No web docs.
No AI?
There's no AI, there's no cut and paste. You had to memorize it every time. You had to type it all out and there's no.
Should bring it back. They should. Yeah.
But now what they do, they teach, just like Cardi said. Cardi says that you gotta read this and it's your responsibility. That's their training. Their training is that you have to read it.
Yeah.
So I responded to last Trev, I'm getting cheeky now with Trev. I don't know.
Go for
I
it.
replied to Trev last time, says, if you find us guilty, you gotta find yourself guilty too, because if I failed to educate them, so did you.
Yeah.
And that's our position right now. That's our statement. Every single
You
letter we
can't-
write.
You can't blame us for every one of these things here. And by the way, just so you know, the biggest one I've seen so far, and I don't understand why, I don't know, I've framed it before. If you're a listed agent and somebody booked an appointment to see your property, your clients have a little kid or dog or whatever else, and they had to pack the house up and get it ready to go, and the person doesn't show up, what happens?
Fines.
Whereas, okay, our agents don't show up for appointments because, well, the client didn't want to see it. No. They drive up the,
Drive
I don't know
up
what the
and-
truth, I don't know what the truth is, but the story I get is that they drive to the house, they look at the house from the curb, this is a piece of garbage, let's move on. Or I have a feeling what really happens is they got caught up and they never had time to squeeze that
They,
one in.
they use it as an excuse.
Yeah, they squeezed it in,
Yeah.
but I don't know what
Or-
the truth is.
The better one is, oh, I called your office and I canceled. What do you mean? You did not call me. Well, I did. I don't know what your problem is.
And by the way, like even if you had said my client was not interested, just because the client directed you to go against the rules doesn't mean you can go against the rules. It's your duty to tell the client the rules. Unfortunately, we've got an appointment booked. I've got to go run in, leave my card. I'll be right back. So just because your client directed you to go against doesn't mean you can. It's not a valid excuse in the world of trap. Not that I agree with it. I'm just saying what their position is.
I think they can alleviate a lot of these problems by handing out real estate license like they were peanuts.
Yeah.
At a carnival.
Yep, don't disagree.
Just
Yeah.
you look at the people getting into the business,
Yeah.
really have no business getting into real
Yeah.
estate, simple.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to get.
Yeah.
They do 2 deals, they're quite satisfied with their.
Yeah, but we all here are professionals. We are all full-time in real estate. So at 1:32 PM on July 29th, I'm reminding you guys to go read all the rules. It's in the section of the website on Treb. Go read MLS rules, read the bylaws. I will remind you guys every once in a while of certain ones. There's hundreds of them. And if we want to go a step further, we can have Treb come in and do a course for us as well and go through the 100 pages that we went through. In 2 hours, I can do the same thing with you guys. So we all know the same thing. But just putting it on record that I'm letting you guys know it's your responsibility to read all the rules. Sure. And then when we get fined, I'm gonna show them the piece of paper that you read the rules. And then
No, we've also caught a couple of people who have put coming soon signs on the property. Anybody having a problem with that?
more than 3 days.
Yeah.
Coming soon,
I think it's 2 days, isn't it?
72 hours.
Can you get a fine for leaving it on?
Yes,
Also, the dollhouse actually still has it on.
report them.
So there's still people out there that they're not up to speed with the rules, right? So you can't have a sign on a property without being on MLS in 3 days.
But having 50 open house signs for one house plastered in a 20-kilometer radius.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, it's not
Not
really.
Ajax.
Ajax, you can't have any open house
Not
signs.
Ajax.
They'll take them away. And Markham, I thought they were doing the same thing.
No,
Markham is still letting them go because Markham had the rule saying that, right? So they had that big, strong bylaws and they still keep them there.
Not enforcing.
Okay.
Ajax is harsh. They're not even, you used to be able to get them back for 25 bucks. They don't even do that anymore. They just throw them out. Mhm. No, like you can only have it at the house. So if they find anywhere else, they're taking
You
them
can't
down
have it
and
on the
throwing them
street.
out.
Nowadays, they don't have to open house sign, they have just, generic sign. Why our investment?
Mm.
No arrow, nothing.
Yep. Certain bylaws won't allow that either. Certain cities.
The investment on that, but they all-
Yeah.
Yeah, so, oh, well.
Every city's different.
I've made it a mission to collect these signs and throw them in the garbage. We all do the same thing.
Any listings anyone wants to talk about? Any questions? TLs from the street online as well?
I just dropped the price of Richmond Hill, 1 bedroom, 630 square feet, 550. It's 75 King William,
Okay,
sell it.
it's a good drop. We'll sell it.
It's over 600 square feet, shows very well.
Good.
And yeah, it's available with parking, with everything, the works.
So next weekend, I believe, is a long weekend?
Yeah.
So no meeting next Monday. If, there's nothing to do with you guys, just off topic here, but how would you like to be an American right now? American Realtor down there, effective on Wednesday. There's no co-op commission.
No force, no force.
No force.
My brother's down
There's,
there right now.
there's no co-op
Co-op
commission
commission in the
in the
state.
United
I'm buying
States.
something in
Yeah.
Ohio,
Yeah.
and then they were basically telling him.
Except, did you read the one
Show
state,
me.
Claire, in Colorado? They're the only state that has said that they're not going to enforce
Yeah,
your
we're gonna have to work on
CRA
this.
reps before you show a property because they're getting more consumer complaints about forcing people into contracts.
They're gonna be like Canada. I mean,
Yeah.
they say that in Canada too. They say you can't do anything without a contract. That's what Teresa says, right? But nobody's gonna sign a contract to meet the guy for the first time.
Yeah.
But just like you too, you may not want to work with this guy. Right? So why would you sign a contract right away?
Yeah, so Colorado is the only state to say recognize that they're getting more consumer complaints about being forced into contracts. So they're the only state to say you're not enforcing, well, fired reps. So golf on August 14th, you need to RSVP this week, please. We got to give them some numbers. That's for spouses and kids. And Caitlin, anything else training wise you want to chat about?
No, I was just gonna mention there's a few conferences coming up. So Century 21 conference is coming up in September in Ottawa. David Greenspan's doing a 2-day event as well in September. Something.
Just in case you can't hear her, so it's Century 21 conference in Ottawa, end of September. David Greenspan is running an event.
Buzz conference is also in September.
Buzz conference, there's lots of stuff.
I'm just mentioning these because if you guys want to catch up on some skills or some networking, these are some like good opportunities for you guys to attend some
Yeah.
outside of office kind of conferences.
And because we are planners and we think ahead, we're already planning your back to school training as well for September. Not that far away from it, so October. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to
like,
school for you
that
too.
Our first back to school session is with a paralegal who's gonna talk about how to list and work with buyers on tenanted properties, which I think is.
Yeah, we get lots of
massive right
those
now. So
questions.
I'm bringing in an actual paralegal to teach you guys on what forms and all that type of stuff you guys need for those types of properties. So that's day one of back to school.
Yeah, good.
Has anybody seen that agent on, I don't know, TikTok or whatever, on social media, Tiger or something or another? He's an agent who's putting down all these agents, I think, basically from the Brampton area and whatever.
Okay.
I think there's a death wish on him right now. I think
Yeah,
they're
probably.
on his
Yeah, that's not the kind of content I would put out, putting down all the rates. We can all have feelings, but
Something or another,
yeah, that's his karma's gonna come back.
eh? Maybe.
Yeah, his karma will come. You can't talk about people like that online, social
Oh,
media.
he's
That's
talking
kind of
about
naughty.
the slime bags.
Yeah, I mean, we know it
There's a lot of
exists,
truth
but
to the content
Sure.
that he's discussing.
yeah. But imagine your clients are watching that, like
Where's he doing this?
On social
TikTok or
media.
No, which like
TikTok.
TikTok,
Yeah,
Wick
could
whack.
be your Instagram,
the TikTok.
yeah, well, TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, I don't recommend putting out content like
what's
that.
wonder what his purpose is.
Exactly, like he's just an angry
And
realtor.
I guess those, you know,
It's shocking.
I guess he's exposing the public to situations with these underhanded agents, you know.
Yeah.
The guys that are bragging, I just sold the house in one day, you know, like, really, well, did you expose it to the market? Did you give anybody else an opportunity to see it and maybe bid on it? You sold it to the first person
Yeah,
and you double ended it and like, you know, those sort of situations,
Yeah.
right? They start marketing
saying,
themselves
well,
like they're heroes and whatever, right? Or you got your Leo
Good.
Frank Leos.
great. So we will not see you next weekend, but we'll be around if you need anything, and good luck with Rome, and you can have your service for Stratus today.
We will still help.
Okay,
Okay,
sorry.
have a good week. Bye.
Open it